Hi everyone. So we have Pasindu Wijesena today with us, who's serving as a judge panelist at Vibeflow AI, and also co-founder of Zeya Health, and who have built multiple ventures in the past couple of years. Who's a prominent figure in the field of AI. So we wanted to discuss one of the key questions that we have in regards to this AI development scope. And yeah, welcome, Pasindu. So tell us a bit about yourself. Uh, what are the current ventures that you are running, and what are the past ventures that you have worked prior?
So I'm Pasindu Wijesena. I started coding in 2008. It's been quite a long time now. And ever since I started coding, this was when I was in grade 6, I wanted to build my own business. My role model was Bill Gates. Back in the day, I had this company called PC Soft, where it was basically a website where I posted stuff that I did. Time moved on, and then in 2018, I started my first real business called the AI team, which originally started as an interest group, which eventually turned into a business. And we were a consulting company where we were building AI-powered software solutions for businesses. And so one of our core competencies within the company was AI, and we had a really expert team who were in the frontier of artificial intelligence and being able to apply these technologies to solve real-world problems. So I was working with the AI team for around 5 years, and in 2024, I decided to make a switch to get some different kind of exposure with a company called Search Global. I joined in with them as their VP of engineering, and I was there for around a year. While at that time, I was primarily helping out with uh, these new projects that we had with the Qatari government. And so during that time, I was really pulled back by my passion to build products of my own, which I decided to apply for a startup accelerator called Antler in this year's March. And right now, I'm building a new company called Zeya, and we are supercharging healthcare operations right now. And it's again part of it is using AI to create these orchestrations around operations that healthcare providers go through. Yeah, so that's been the journey that I've had so far.
So do you remember the first encounter with AI? Where did you started these things off? Is it in the school time, or how did it start?
Okay, yeah. This was in 2014. I was building this product for a competition that allowed paralyzed people to interact with computers using their eye gaze. And so where I applied, like where AI came into the picture was like I was studying computer vision and applying it, like writing softwares with it. And then I wanted to detect the eye blink in our software. And then I think we wrote a very simple ML algorithm to detect the blinks of people who were using it. And that was a very first encounter for me with AI, and like my path to learning, and my interest in artificial intelligence.
So we have seen currently the companies are building lots of AI products, and they are either building AI wrappers, or either they are building synchronization among multiple AI agents. There are lots of new innovations that are coming up. So how do you see this approach these new ventures are taking towards this AI boom? How does the existing product companies are adapting AI into their products?
Okay, so the new capability that really unlocked very recently was with these LLMs, which I would say democratized the access to AI for a very large audience, right? Um, and so like companies used AI in different forms. Like there were very core AI companies, for example, these autonomous cars and all, and medicine discovery. So uh, we've been using AI a lot already, but now AI has been a very common term that people use. So, um, and when it comes to product development, whether existing products or let's say when you're building a new product, uh, a lot of people right now tend to use AI to build new products and existing products as well, that people have seen the capabilities that AI, or I would say generative AI, most recently have unlocked. And so because of that, people are trying to integrate these generative AI capabilities into their software solutions. And how I really look at this is that now you should not just try to integrate Gen AI for the sake of integrating AI into your solution. Rather, you should look at what problem, or like what gap do you have in the problem that you're trying to solve, which you can't solve by traditional means, or which you, if you were to solve with traditional means, it would take you 10 days, or not 10 days, but rather let's say 1 year, which if you were to use generative AI, you might be able to do in 10 days. So you have to first identify what are those opportunities, and then really apply AI, not just apply, like come up with the base solution that I need to apply AI for something and then try to apply it. And these different companies that are building with AI right now, we see AI being applied in different, I would say, layers, right? We have this like standard term is called ChatGPT wrappers. People who are utilizing this newly unlocked capabilities of LLMs to make softwares that are a bit more intelligent, or like they can that can respond to very much unstructured data, or like could appeal more human like. Um, and that has been like with these new LLMs coming out, with the computational capacity that they have, with the capacity that they bring in, a whole new range of possibilities have been unlocked, and people are just taking advantage of these possibilities right now. And it makes perfect sense to like build a wrapper when you want to build a wrapper, like when your use case deems it. You don't have to go ahead and like try to build custom models to get something done. Like that was already there. I don't know, 70 years down the line as well, right? So I would say that people are going down this, like approaching this in the right way, where we have unlocked this new capability that people have not yet exploited yet. Like we have a lot to exploit in this newly discovered capability. So most of the initial solutions that we build would be us building on top of like base solutions on top of this technology that has been unlocked. And once we saturate there, then we will start seeing more innovations on top of this. Or like the players who will stick in the future might be the players who really build something more than just a wrapper. But building a wrapper is it's totally sensible. Like if you are starting a new product, right? It might not make sense for you to go ahead and it in most of the cases, it might not make sense for you to go ahead and build a custom model that gets your job done, because that's going to delay your go to market time by weeks or months. So when you want to prototype and validate certain ideas, that might, like going with, let's say, doing an API call to ChatGPT or Gemini or any LLM provider. Uh, that will be the right path, and for certain problems, that will stick that will be the right path for years and years. Um, so yeah, it's just a way of like choosing the right technology to build the right solution for the right problem.
So, how important do you think the AI literacy is? So, when it comes to developers, sales, marketing, the cross functional teams, how important do you think this literacy of AI would benefit the business well being?
Right. And okay, I would say like this, with the way that AI is progressing, uh, much of the work that humans used to put their knowledge into, like effort into, their mind into, we are now building we're now seeing that these AIs are capable of doing these exact things with less effort or less energy, right? So if you are a painter, painting some stuff like a couple of months back, you might have seen that now these new AIs can really create amazing paintings. Now, as a painter, how you would have to adapt is to consider AI as a toolbox in your tool set, similar to you using brushes to paint. AI would be another tool in your toolkit to express your creativity. And the same thing applies to all the industries, I would say, like programmers, marketeers, salespeople, everybody. Like, this is another tool in your toolkit. You might have been using Excel and Word for decades, but now you have this new tool around the block, which you can or can like may not choose to use, but the by the way that the world is going, the people who would use these tools to make their work easy and more efficient will lead the way. So that unless you keep up, like there's a FOMO around this, like you know uh, fear of missing out, which is if you do not use these tools, you might be left behind. So I think that is real because of these new capabilities we are seeing, and like how you as a marketer or a salesperson you would use these tools is different. Like there are hundreds and thousands of tools right now to do very specific jobs, right? So you'll have to be the one who will figure out where in your workflow an AI tool that's reliable enough to do that particular job can come in, and then use that tool to get the job done, so that you can offer, like you can deliver more within the same time that you did. You can deliver better within the same time that you used to deliver previously.
So, continuing that input that you gave, why we started Wipeflow AI was also for a similar purpose. We saw that there are lots of junior developers who are using AI, maybe using different AI workflows, but they're not even sure how to use this. Maybe they don't know the best practices of using AI. Or the biggest concern is about getting the software functional, but they don't see the other aspects of it. They don't identify the vulnerabilities that AI would introduce, the scalability problems, and all these things that would come up. So we wanted to experiment AI, battle test AI, see what are the limitations and strengths that AI would be having, and we would be getting this done with experienced developers. So Wi-Fi Hackathon is about gathering a set of experienced developers and tell them to benchmark the performance of AI while building an AI case study, so that whatever the documentation that they would do while they are in the hackathon, so once they're building this case study, they would be also documenting their insights in a comprehensive report template. So when a multiple number of developers contributed with their own insights, with their own documentations, we would be able to gather them together and build a one solid report outcome by the end of the hackathon, which could be utilized by these junior developers. That would guide these junior developers on what sort of workflows they should use, what sort of vulnerabilities AI would introduce, and how these senior developers are taking steps to mitigate them likewise. So what do you think about this Vibeflow AI initiative?
Okay, now Vibe Flow, I think this is a very really great experiment that you're doing, not just for the developers, but as well for the companies, organizations that ultimately hire these developers. Because now this is a question that everybody has. Like, how much could you rely on these AI tools, and how should you integrate these tools to your workflows? And when it comes to development, there are different processes and aspects of development where you can potentially apply AI to, generative AI to. And I would say the widely tried part is for you to generate code. And so reliability has been a great concern, and like not just across development but across all the all the verticals. The reliability, like using these non-deterministic machines to get your job done, how much can you rely on them, right? And with respect to that, I think Vibeflow is a great experiment that's going to evaluate how these tools are being used. And when you take a larger population in and get all of their opinions, I think together with all of these opinions and experiences that developers would have gone through, it will serve as a benchmark for individual developers as well as companies to use. So in that effort, I think in that aspect, I think Vibeflow is very valuable for both individuals as well as for the industry to establish what these or identify what these limitations and thoughts are with the devs who would ultimately be using these technologies to build solutions. And yeah. So one more thing that I would add, although, is that AI has been evolving in a very high pace. So experiments like this would have to happen more frequently. So I hope that you guys are able to have more iterations of Vibeflow, in the future. But this is a very great initiative that I'm seeing.
All right. So you are serving as a judge in this hackathon. What are the aspects you would be judging from a team that participates in the hackathon, and what sort of things that they have done would impress you?
Where people are trying to what people are trying to understand is really what are the boundaries of AI when it comes to using AI for development, right? And based on the tool and the technique that you use, the experience that you would have is going to be very different. Like we are in a stage where different LLMs almost have their own personalities, and so that's going to have an impact on the work that you're going to do. And this is just the LLMs, right? You're not directly using the LLM. You're using some form of a tool that's using the LLM to get the job done for you. So if you're using Cursor, if you're using Windsurf, if you're using whatever the tool that you want to build your software in, the end experience that you get is going to be very different. And so I think the most interesting part for me in the hackathon would be your ability to correctly or rightly mention the parameters of your experiment. Like you're using these tools, and with this background, with these settings, what were the places that you saw AI failing? Where did you have to interfere? How did you end up steering AI to get the things that you wanted to do? What metrics or what attributes of the software did you really allow the AI to go fully autonomous on? What parts did you try to keep to yourself and maybe you coded or you laid the basic framework, or how you navigated around the limitations that you identified? I think uh, that regardless of how impressive that limitation is, I think being able to communicate that across would be the greatest thing I would look for in teams.
All right, so now let's move a little bit towards your latest product that you are building, Zeya Health. So you have already put forward the first prototype of the product. So I think it's a good time to start speaking about it. So can you tell us about Zeya Health?
Okay, interesting questions. Yeah, so first, we were originally called Apex Health. Uh, this was before we incorporated, and we then named ourselves to Zeya Health because Apex was too common. Um, so now Zeya is trying to supercharge healthcare operations, and what I mean by that is that when it comes to serving patients, like in healthcare, there are like the industry is around three parties: providers, patients, and payers. And the core thing is about the core objective of healthcare is to make people feel better, like have make or allow people to live healthier lives. And so along the way, along the years, in the let's say if you were to take 100 200 years back, the role that doctors played was very different from the role that doctors play right now. Like people were being treated for acute diseases, like something that you would get here and there, and like not persistent diseases that you might get like diabetes right now in these days, right? And back in those days, these patients who came in for the doctors, you wouldn't have to rely on too much of a like history about the patients to give them the medicine. But right now, in the world that we live in, this has become very longitudinal. You like it's not just the single occurrence or like single interaction that a patient is having with a doctor that matters towards having a better medicine to cure the diseases that they have, but also the whole set of like medications that they've been taking along years and years. So with this, there's a lot of like huge requirement for the healthcare providers to understand patients better in longitudinal ways, to understand them throughout the years, how they have come to the stage they are right now in terms of their health. And towards this, most of the developed countries, they are using like techniques that centralize healthcare records of patients, which then allows different providers, this could be different hospitals, different clinics, to access these healthcare records of patients so that they can give better medications. And when you have this sort of background, when you want to keep records of these patients throughout like different practices and all, this is an additional overhead to the work of doctors and the nurses and the providers who involve in giving medicine to patients. So in these countries, like for every 10 minutes that a doctor spends with patients, they spend another 10 or 20 minutes jotting down what happened and documenting what happened about these patients. So this is an additional administrative burden that these providers have to go through because right like because of the way the world is moving towards. And our target at Zeya is to reduce or get rid of this administrative burden and allow doctors and nurses and these healthcare providers to focus on the primary objective, that is providing care to patients, not going through these administrative burdens. And so, how we are enabling that is by utilizing multiple technologies. One, like a core thing being AI. Like AI allows us to build and scale our solution uh, to allow these providers just focus on providing medicine and not on that administrative burden. So that's what Zeya is. And so with Zeya, how no, we want to get rid of administrative burden, but yes, it means that people who are just involved in administrative works, the requirement for these people might reduce down the line. But also, what it means is that it creates new opportunities or new areas for people to focus on care. Like in our case, for nurses, if they were spending 50% of the time doing administrative work, now they'd be able to spend that 50% of the time treating patients. So, giving better care to patients. So, I wouldn't see it as uh, getting people rid of jobs, but rather focusing the job on the right thing that should be given, which is care for the patients.
That sounds super interesting. So, along with that, I have one final question line in this I wanted to ask. Now, Sam Altman always keeps on saying that you should not start building more intelligent models for niche use cases. Instead, think of a business problem that you would be solving, or think of creating an orchestration where the product that you are building would automatically get intelligent once the new AI model line comes up, not sort of a product that you would be building which would get vanished once the new AI models come up. So what is your opinion on that?
Yeah. Okay. So uh, Altman, like I do agree with Altman's statement, right? Because there are very powerful players who are working in this area of building intelligent models. And yes, if you are going towards that area, like if you want to be one of these players, sure, you should go towards that. But also know, like, be aware of what it implies, what sort of capital requirements you would have, what sort of talent requirements you would have, where would you have to operate in order to run businesses like this, like OpenAI, right? So if you're trying to build a company like that, yes, you should go towards that. But if you're trying to build in the application layer, or like you're building in some vertical, some niche area, then you need to essentially use the capabilities of like use the capabilities of these intelligent models to your advantage, and use the fact that these models are going to keep getting better month on month as a key driving point for your product. So if you had a product that depends on the intelligence of these AI models, and it uses it in a positive way, even if you did zero improvement for your product over a period of a year, your product would still get better because you're relying on these intelligent models, and these models are going to get better over time. So because of that key thesis, like building along or together with these products, these intelligent models, is the way to go if you're building in some verticals. But again, together with that, there are certain use cases where you have to, like, you can't really use the intelligent models as is. So in such cases, like very specific cases are there. Maybe like in your use case, you do not have, like, these models may not have seen the data that you want them to see in order to make the right kinds of predictions, right? In such cases, you would have to uh, maybe fine tune these models and build your own iterations on top of them. But uh, those are like those are specific scenarios, and when it happens, then you would have to also keep up with those upcoming updates to these models. Maybe you would keep on fine tuning these models as with every update that's coming up, but creating your models on your own from scratch, it might not be the best way to build certain things if you are trying to build an application in a single vertical. uh, is what I feel.
So, as the final question I want to ask, there are lots of students who are moving towards the IT field even right now. What are the most important skill sets that you think they should possess in order to persist in this IT field?
Um, Something that I thoroughly believe in right now, still believe in, is that regardless of all of these innovations that are coming out, if you're a new kid trying to get into computer science, you need to know the fundamentals, like how computers work, or like how things are built. Uh, so because of that, you would still have to, like, some of these subjects that are taught at universities would still have to be taught, because people, when they come on board, like, we this knowledge, it's all acquired knowledge. We have to acquire this knowledge in some form, right? Because of that, you would still see some, like, into the future, even as these universities update their curriculums and all, you would see these fundamental subjects being taught at universities, and it's very essential, because without it, you wouldn't know why you would be doing something, some decisions that use, like, on top of 100 abstractions, why you would be doing, or like why you would be taking certain actions. You would not know the basis for it, and knowing that basis is going to help uh, make very grounded decisions. And again, to add to this is that knowing that basis is not going to help with every job. So there are different kinds of jobs, and depending on what you'd want to do in terms, like, in your personal career, uh, it'll vary, right? How far would you want to go? It'll determine, like, how much of a requirement you would have to know the inner workings and the depths of these different things that we are building on top of. So because of that, I still believe that, like, universities, yes, universities would have to update their curriculums to introduce these new technologies, but the foundational fundamentals would have to still be there, and the kids would have to still learn those things, because you would have, like, without acquiring those, uh, you would not know why you're doing certain things. That said, now for new undergrads and new graduates that are coming, I think the core skill that you should learn is the ability to learn, because what I say today is going to get outdated in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And the only thing that will stay the same is if you learned the ability to adapt, the ability to learn new things, then that's what's going to keep progressing you forward. And so because of that, like right now what's trending is all of this AI stuff. So yes, it'll make sense for you to learn some of this, like how to learn how to use these uh, generative AI tools in your workflows. Also learn how you can code with them, learn the limitations of them, but that's just valid for now in this very short time span. So the core thing that you should learn is that you should adapt and learn new things as they come, or you'll get obsolete and then you'll be left behind. So yeah, that's the key skill I would suggest you kids, undergrads and everybody to learn. When you are applying for a job, of course, like you can't say that I can learn anything. You have to also show something, proof, right? So do what's going to be trending at the time, not like what what the industry is going towards. Right now it's using generative AI. Yes, so go ahead and do some pet projects. Make yourself make sure to show whoever you want to showcase to that you are capable of these things. But the core thing is that if you want to survive 10, 15, 20 years in an industry, you need to be able to adapt.
So in that case, you shared some really important insights with us, Pasindu. Thank you very much for joining with us, and we hope to see you in the Bipeflow AI Hackathon on July 19th.